Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Busier.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode number 202 of the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Sorry it's been a while since I've made my last podcast, and today I'm super excited about today's episode. We're going to be talking about things that you can do, and marketing things in particular, especially when you are busy. How can you market your practice when you're so busy? That's the thing I keep hearing from everybody right now is, it is so busy, I don't have time to eat lunch. How do I have time to do marketing for my practice? Also, I'm so busy. Why is it important that I do marketing for my practice? If you're somebody who said either of those two things here in the past little bit, then this is going to be a great episode for you. I'm going to talk about why I think this is important and why you should be marketing, even and especially when you are busy. So, I'd like to mention a couple things. First, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. I'm trying to help 10,000 practices over the next 10 years grow their veterinary hospital. And so if you are subscribed to the podcast, that will help me to help you. Also, if you want to join the Facebook group, the Veterinary Marketing Nerds, you can head on over to facebook.com/groups/the Veterinary Marketing Nerds, no spaces, and you can request to sign up. It's completely free. There's a bunch of smart people in there, and they can help you. You can help them, and everybody can get better at marketing together. I'd also like to mention this episode is being sponsored by vetbilling.com. Are you practice that either, number one, you hate it when clients can't pay their bill because you feel bad, but at the same time, you can't run a practice for free because you need to charge what you're worth. So if you're tired of discounting, if you're tired of payment headaches, if you're looking to implement things like payment plans, prepayment plans, memberships, or have recurring billing set up with clients, Vet Billing is a great option. If you go to vetbilling.com/podcast, you can actually get 60 days free during the time of this. I don't know how long this promotion is going to be going for, so head on over to vetbilling.com/podcast to get 60 days of free trial with Vet Billing. Even when the trial runs out, it is extremely affordable. It is highly effective. This is a tool that every single practice needs to have in their tool belt. And it's not one of the few products that I would say you need to have Vet Billing in your practice. So head on over to vetbilling.com/podcast if you haven't done so already. If you're not already signed up with them, get signed up on that trial. Check out all the cool things that they offer. It is a fantastic tool. Seriously, go and do it right now and get back onto this podcast in just a second. I think it's that important. All right, so let's get into today's episode. We're talking about how to market when it is busier than ever. This is really interesting and it's pretty unexpected. And honestly, I'm so thankful that I work with the veterinary industry because luckily, I still have work. Luckily, you still have work as long as the practice is open. And I do know some practices that have been shut down due to COVID, but things are busy and people are growing like crazy. And so, a lot of times I hear is I'm too busy to do anything, or I don't need to set things up, I'm so busy. And the problem with that kind of thinking, in my opinion, is that we are reaching some pretty weird times. I think that everybody can agree that unemployment is ridiculously high. Unemployment benefits are always up in the air. The government's constantly fighting between, the Democrats and Republicans on what kind of benefit for unemployment is going to be out there. There's just so much weirdness going on in the world, lockdowns and all kinds of things, that at some point, this is all going to start to catch up. And, between the restaurants and hospitality industry and all these other things, the economy looks really, really weird. So I think that it's very, very fortunate that people have been so busy, but at the same time, we need to say, hey, this is going to come to an end at some point. And when it does, we need to have things in place that we can pull certain levers to get people to come in. But how do you do that when you're really busy? So I think that we're going to talk about a few things that are going to be very, very helpful in getting marketing done. So I think the lowest hanging fruit that you need to be working on is obviously your current clients and people that you're bringing in the door. So these are people that are now coming in, and I hear this across the board that there are tons of new clients coming in, and that is a great thing. But we need to make sure that we have systems in place to make sure that we are able to market to them effectively, that we're able to engage them effectively, and get just tons of repeat customers coming back over and over again. Because if you've already created a client out of somebody, they already know, like, and trust you, they've already decided to do business with you, that's often the marketing piece that gets forgotten. So we can't forget about those golden clients that we already have, and we need to make sure that things are set up in place that they're going to be expecting to hear from you. They're going to get reminders. So let's talk about that really quick. Number one thing that I think you should do with your marketing is make sure that you have email marketing set up, that you have a system for texting and communicating on demand with people. That way, if things do slow down and all of a sudden you have a day where, oh man, we don't have hardly anything on the schedule, what should we do to fill the schedule? You have a way to drive clients in the door that day. And I think that if I was a practice owner, that would be one of the things that I would make sure to do. So number one, make sure that emails are getting put into a place where they're actually going to be able to get used. So if you're putting them into your practice management software, can you export them? What if you made an additional step during check-in so that it just got input into MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or whatever you're using for your email marketing? Because this is important. You have to have it set up so that you're able to communicate with these people. Just having the email and then saying, oh, I can get to it someday, that's not good enough. You need to be putting these people into an email marketing system, and you're going to need to be able to communicate with them. If you use a product like PetDesk or something like that, that is fantastic because it gives you that two-way texting and communication tools that you need to regularly communicate with these people. But these are people who are interested in what you have. You know that they're a potential client, and they already want to do business with you. So it just makes so much sense to start there. So if you're too busy to do anything else, please go get an email marketing system set up. I would say if you don't have one set up, go with MailChimp. Use whatever is easiest for you. MailChimp is extremely easy to use. Get everybody in there and begin communicating with them. That's another thing too. And so I think as much as possible, if you create all of these systems as you go, if it's things that don't have to be done in addition to the other work, that's going to be extremely important. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have all of these emails that you know you need to go through in your practice management software. And so it's the end of the week, you worked a crazy week, and you're just ready to go home and go to sleep. You're probably not going to say to yourself, you know what, I forgot, I have all those emails that I need to get through, I'm going to go through and do that. Or, you know what, I'm going to export all my text messages, phone numbers, so that I can put them into ManyChat and begin doing a text message marketing campaign to these people. You're probably not going to do that. So get it done as it is going. And that kind of leads to the next point. Whenever possible, keep your marketing content creation tools handy. So whether that is, if things are going great and you're having record months for revenue and things, invest in a camera that is sitting around and is available at all times, and that is charged up and that works great. You can get a Sony A5100 or a really decent camera for $500. You can take videos, you can just capture tons of content that's happening in your practice, and you can make it as you go. And so I think that that's really helpful in cutting down the time that it takes to create content, because content is something that needs to be done all the time. You have to be in front of your target market. Otherwise, they will not know that you exist to the same extent that other practices who are creating content will. So you need to make sure that you're creating content, and that content needs to be created around the products and services that you have and that you're offering. Okay? So you need to be sure to create content as we go, input these marketing points in as you go, and as much as possible, if you can do it at the same time that you're doing something else, this is really ideal. Another thing that you might want to do, and you might want to consider, is let's say that you have like a new consult with puppy owners, for example. If you have puppy owners that are asking questions, you could just record the session and just record yourself talking to them. And there's content. So when puppy owners ask questions, you record that content, and then you're going to reuse it for certain things. Or if you're doing a surgery consult, or if you're doing a rehab consult, or if you're anything, this is content idea. If clients are asking you questions, they're probably not the only ones to have these questions. And so if you could set it up, and obviously it'll be kind of weird, but you could just have an audio recorder and record notes and then have that transcribed and put into a blog post. Or you could transcribe that and create it as a social post. The information that you have and that you relay to clients is extremely valuable. And it's going to help people understand your philosophy on their pet's health. It's going to understand how they can connect with you as a practice owner, and it's going to make them want to come to you and your practice. So consider this as something that you might want to start doing, is just go get a recorder. Zoom makes some really, really high quality recorders that look like pens. They're like $129. I'll be sure to link them on veterinarymarketingpodcast.com. I'll find them and post them there. But you can get high quality audio out of recorders all the time. You can also set up your phone and get recorders going there too, especially if you use earbuds. I think people are pretty used to all of these having earbuds in, so it doesn't make it weird. Especially if you're doing let's say you're doing curbside where the clients aren't coming in. If you see a problem in your practice and you're like, hey, this is really interesting, I'm going to talk about, this problem that I'm seeing and what can be done to avoid it. I'm not saying like take video of the person's pet without their permission or anything, but it gives you the opportunity to come up with content ideas. If you're seeing a recurring theme between patients, if you're seeing different things that you think really need to be highlighted, you can go through and just start talking and do voice and then get that transcribed by Rev or something else. If you don't have time to make content, then find time where you're doing something else that is related and documented. And so I think that is really, really important, and it's actually not too difficult to do at all. Some examples of that is when I would go through and be working on certain items for different clients, I would actually make YouTube videos of screen sharing and screen recording the ads that I was creating and talk about the process of the ads as I was creating them and why I thought it was important to do certain things and the different things so it's while you're doing things that are relevant, you can create content out of that. And that was just an example, right? So I think that if you approach your content creation from that perspective, you'll be able to get more done. If you're thinking, I want to start writing a blog, or I want to start writing more content on Facebook, or more video content, things like that, just do it as you're going, and you'll get a lot more done there. I think, though, that if we approach marketing as a system in your business as well, that lets you communicate at scale with your clients and get them the information that they desperately need. So if there's some kind of spiel that you go over with every single client as they leave, right, whether it's through surgery or follow-up after surgery, or follow-up after they're a year old, or these different things, you could go through and create that piece so that they didn't have to get called, but you could just send them a video. Hey, it's your puppy's first birthday. Here's what you need to be knowing, and here's what you need to be doing now that they're a year old. Or, your dog turned 12. Here's some things that you can do to make sure that they stay active. And those kind of things, right? And so if you think of it as a system, if somebody called and asked you a question, instead of answering that question, you could just go and send them a video. That's a system that is going to work for you. And it lets you build credibility. It lets you sell services. And it just is also genuinely informational, and it helps the clients that are coming in. So I think it's really, really important. It helps you just have a better client experience. And that is important marketing in your practice. So with all the content that you're producing, just look for unique ways to repurpose the content, whether it's just taking the audio out of something and making it a podcast, whether it's taking video and transcribing it and then creating a blog post out of it, or if it's just when you take a picture and it does well, reuse that in the future and make sure you create a saved album of the content that works really, really well. I know that there's a lot of people who don't want to post duplicate content over and over again, and I get it, don't overdo the duplicate content, but if something works, you should be using it frequently. The internet has a very short memory, and so it's important that you reuse things that work well. I think a lot of people say, oh, I'm not going to post that, or I've posted too much, or I've created too much content around that. Nobody's sitting around saying, oh, you know what, I wonder what Brandon's going to make today, because I remember last week he made a podcast. No, nobody's saying that at all. If there's something that you feel is important that you need to talk about, you need to get it out there, and if it works well, continue to use it over and over again. So that's one thing that I think is super simple. If you could just go through your Creator Studio inside of Facebook, which is where the insights are now for your organic content, if you could go through and see which posts did the best, and are there any posts that actually drove clients in the door, figure out if you can reuse those, and then you don't even have to make something new. So that is definitely a very helpful tip that I think you can do. So alongside of just creating stuff and creating things as you go, at the same time, it's a weird paradigm that I think that quality is more important than ever. If you want to stand out, you need to have either extremely useful or extremely high quality, whether it's production or just it needs to be quality, right? And so it does take work, it does take practice, it does take effort with all of the marketing that you have to go out and create something that's going to work. And so set a goal for yourself to create something. I think that a lot of times people say, oh, you know what, I'm only going to be able to get one thing done this month, and that's just terrible, so I'm not even going to try. Direction is a lot more important than speed, especially if you're really busy. Let's say you've been insanely busy for the past year, but you had also went through and created 12 videos, and maybe 3 of them were related to each other, so you could create a series and then use that. If you have content that you're creating, even if it's not very frequently, but you're proud of it and you want to use it, when you look back after a year, you are making progress. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're just trying to figure out, what should I do? Go through and just do small steps. Small steps add up over time. And if you do get slow, then you're going to be able to take what you have made, use that, and drive more clients in the door. So kind of along the lines of, what should we be doing right now when we're so busy? A lot of times people will say, well, I don't think I necessarily want to have ads running. I don't want to have new client ads running. I don't want to be spending any money on Facebook or Google AdWords or, these channels because we're so busy. I can't handle it. And I get that. But at the same time, if things slow down and you say, oh man, we've been so slow for the past week, I don't know what we're going to do. We're in trouble here. When you get to that point, sometimes it's too late. And you're trying to scramble to get things figured out when you should have been preparing back when you had the means and the ability to test things and to get things wrong. So it definitely takes time and energy and some testing to get things working and get your practice up and running when things get slow. But if you can get those systems set up, and even if you're running maybe only $10 a day in ads or something, then you'll be better off if you hadn't started. It's kind of like a cheap insurance policy. And, I think that most veterinary hospitals would agree that they have insurance on their building or on their vehicles. It's not for when things are going good. It's for when the car crashes and you need to have your insurance. And so I think that approaching your at least paid advertising from that perspective when you're really busy is, hey, this is just something that if I needed to scale up my ads because we got slow, I wouldn't be starting from scratch, and I know it works. So that's just something that I think is really valuable. And I'll finish with this, that the busier that you are and the less time that you have for creating content, the content that you do create, the ads that you do create, or the work that you do create, use your time wisely to make things that are going to be what's called evergreen. So there's different kinds of content. There's like or email marketing sequences, or welcome email sequences, or welcome videos, or these different things that you can create for your business. You have things that are like one-time use. So like, let's say you talk about an update for let's say make a piece of content about a cat that tested positive for COVID, or a news story, or something that's really, really relevant right now, but it doesn't have a super long lifespan because it's not going to be relevant in a month. That kind of content is helpful for getting really quick flashes of engagement, and it usually gets lots of shares and organic growth and things. But if you took the time to build out a welcome sequence that helps to indoctrinate the new clients that you have into the philosophy of your practice and why you care so much about them, and all these really great things, if you sat down and created a piece of content about COVID, or you created a piece of an email sequence, the email sequence is going to have a much longer lifespan, and it's going to have a better return on investment for you over time because it's useful for longer. And so if your time is really, really tight, go through and create content that is going to be more evergreen, because these are marketing systems that as you put them in place, they're going to continue to just amplify the results that you get. If you had sat down and made email sequences and had segmented email sequences based on interest, and let's say you did one different email sequence every single month, when you had a new client come in that would then get 12 emails over the course of a year that were really targeted towards specials and different things that they need, you're going to see a much higher lifetime value per client because you have these tools that are working in the background. And so consider that marketing is a system, and that when you do things that are going to be able to be used in the future, you're taking a bunch of work off your plate in the future, and you're creating a more valuable client for yourself at the same time. So I think this is super, super helpful. But I just want to mention a couple things. Again, if you need any help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Just wanted to make sure that you know. If you need anything, let me know. I also wanted to say that I have a new product that is out, which is cool. It is the Ultimate Client Challenge. It is a 4-day client definition challenge that helps you to get really down to exactly who is the right target for your veterinary practice, what kind of services or what kind of client you're going to be targeting, how to find them, how to speak to them, how to really understand what it is that they're looking for, so that you can create marketing that speaks to them and drives them into your practice. Because if you are so busy right now, or if you're slowing down, you need more clients. But if you're so busy, there's only 2 ways to make more money in your practice or be more successful. That is to do more work that you love, that is probably higher margin, higher quality, or you can go out and just do more volume. Most people are tapped out in the volume space, so we need to be smarter. So we need to do the kinds of services that you want to do to grow the business that you want to grow. And so finding the right kinds of clients, understanding their pain points, understanding where they are and how to communicate with them is extremely important. And that's what this Ultimate Client Challenge does. It's done over 4 days. It is very, very to the point. You get instruction delivered over the 4 days, and it's really, really solid in my opinion. So if you're interested in that, you can find a link to that in the group, the Veterinary Marketing Nerds on Facebook, or if you go to veterinarymarketingpodcast.com, I will be sure to link that up under the products tab as well. I hope you have a wonderful day today. I hope things are going well for you in the crazy world that we're living in. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please let me know. But I'll talk to you on next episode. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.